Hey guys, Serie A is back. We got to put the 3 points in the Champions League in the back of our minds because it's time to focus back on Serie A. And of course, I'm here to do the preview for Inter versus Sassuolo kickoff at 8:45 p.m. tomorrow, Italian time, 7:45 p.m. for me. So before we get into it, you know what to do. Give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Well, I know it's been an awful start, guys. Really, really bad. If we're going to put it visually, I apologize for this. This is Inter's worst start statistically, points-wise, since even worse than some of the banter era season. We have to go back to the 2011-12 season for a worse start than this, where we only had 1 point from the first three. So it puts into perspective how bad a start this has been. But of course, there's only 3 games, long season ahead to put things right. But it does put things into perspective of how bad a start this has been. 2 losses, just the 3 points in the first game. It doesn't happen even in some of the peak banter era seasons I'm talking about, 14, 15, 15, 16, 16, 17. We're talking about peak banter era seasons, and we weren't starting this bad. So Chivu and the boys, we know the next few games, Sassuolo, Cagliari, Cremonese, has to be 3 points in each, 9 points. That is the only way forward. More performances like the one against Ajax with some more solidity and more concreteness up front. But we are playing the team that we know over the last decade or so has been the Inter killer. They've been known to be giant killers in general, but specifically with Inter as well. There was a period where I started to underestimate them. This from Who Scored just shows the last 6 times we faced them, including the one in Coppa Italia. So in this period here, I think I even remember doing a preview with you guys, and I was like, nah, man, I don't count Sassuolo as a bogey team anymore. Like, look at this. We beat them 2 times in a row, 3 times in a row here. Like, nah, they're not our bogey team anymore. And then what do? In the year that they get relegated, though they shouldn't have been relegated, that team was too good to be relegated, by the way. And Inter win the Scudetto, the only 2 losses that we suffer in that season. Or maybe we suffer another one more somewhere, but yeah, doesn't matter. The 2 losses that Inter have that season, Sassuolo at home and away, crazy. And of course, Domenico Berardi, the Antonio Di Natale of this Sassuolo team, the one club man, the mid-table bowler that is Mimo Berardi punishing us. Yeah, so we're all scared of this one. But in theory, I watched Sassuolo at the beginning of the season. They looked better against Lazio in the last game where they won. They beat Lazio. But in general, the first couple of games did not look good at all. But let's get into some of Christian Chivu's words, who had his pre-match press conference today, courtesy of Inter Extra, of course. So some of the quick team news is that Matteo Darmian has returned to group training. He missed the Ajax match. Lautaro Martinez is still dealing with back pain, but as confirmed by Chivu today, he did train with the team, so he is available tomorrow again. Our captain, Lautaro Martinez. Just in terms of general comments of the game, they were asking him about the recent criticism. He knows it's part of the game. He's always aware of everything. Until March, this was a team that the whole world spoke about. Then there was a bit of misfortune. I don't know about that. We forgot how good these boys really are, and it's not fair. We must never forget that this team has had a great season last year. This group has quality, skill. I could use 1,000 adjectives, but they allow me to stay calm, and thus my main concern is just to get the best out of them. Yeah, I mean, he's always backing these guys. We've seen it with Chivu. He's kind of similar to Inzaghi in this sense that he's always speaking positively about the guys, whether it's right now, whether it's in the past when he wasn't even here, whether he is covering the ass of the owners and the directors. Yeah, he reminds me of Inzaghi a lot. But there's the positivity that he tries to instill in the players. I can't go against it. Then here, the confirmation that Lautaro trained with them yesterday and today. He's made himself available. A captain must do this. He knows this team so well, and he's never backed down. We know this with Lautaro. He never backs down. But if you've seen in the media recently, there's been this stat that's been going around. I need to actually double check this. We need to fact check this. But there's this stat that has been spread in the last few days about Inter without Lautaro. 26 games, I think the stat was, Inter haven't lost a game without Lautaro. So is this the fact that Lautaro is more, some people are saying that is Marcus Thuram much more important to this team than Lautaro? I think in some senses we know those characteristics of Thuram in terms of the pace, the dribbling, the hold up play, and everything that, and now the goals, the aerial threat that he's adding as well. In terms of just straight characteristics, he is probably the most important player, Marcus Thuram, to this team. Of course, Lautaro adds so much more in other things as well. But yeah, I need to double check that statistic. That we need to fact check that. And then they asked him, is Lautaro going to play, or is Jose Martinez, of course, the one that was supposed to start in the Ajax game, and then Chivu went against the wishes and the hopes of all Interisti and even non-Interisti that was saying that Sommer should be benched, and it started Sommer anyway. He says, I'm going to play a little game with you, to the journalist that asked. I can say to you that one Martinez will start for sure tomorrow. So whether it's Josep, whether it's Lautaro, one of them is starting tomorrow, and let's see what the predicted lineups say. But from what I understand, in the week building up to this game, they were saying that even if Sommer starts the Ajax game, Josep will get his chance against Sassuolo, which is what we said. Doesn't really matter too much against Ajax, even if he played Josep. The big decision is who plays against Sassuolo. And yeah, in terms of Sassuolo, he said they're well prepared, well organized, dangerous team. They can cause us issue with their two pacey wingers. Of course, we know Loriente on the left and Berardi on the right. Their organization in midfield have strong, experienced players, so we must be ready for anything against them. On Pio Esposito, the journalist asked him, do you see Pio more as the vice Lautaro in terms of qualities, which I think looks like to be, we said this since the start of the season. Boni is the vice Thuram, Pio is the vice Lautaro. And yeah, again, on Pio, just speaking very positively about him, the way that he trained, the way that he's behaving, but then he made sure, similar to Inzaghi, to mention the other guys as well. Basoa, Thuram, Boni, Lautaro, they're 4 great options. I like having so many high caliber players available. And then, as usual, they asked him about, especially after the Ajax game, he knows the journalists are trying to prod him on the whole fact of what, a lot of Interisti fans are kind of criticizing Chivu for like, still the same guy, especially against Ajax. Like, it's still the same team against Juve. We're looking at the exact same team. Where's Sucic? Where's the new guys? And he was like, yeah, I know what you're getting at here. But I don't speak of old or new. What I've always said is that I choose my team based on who deserves it the most. He said, this meritocracy. For me, the first 11 is important, but the changes are just as important during the game, even more so as often they impact the final result. I would like to reward the attitude of a team who are training better, knowing that they will get their opportunity. Sooner or later, they will all have the chance to start, and the rest will be subbed on. And getting on to that, he got asked, let's skip past this one, about another burning hot topic of Interisti is, what was the point of signing Andy Diouf and Luis Enrique? That's 50 million euros that is sitting on the bench. Looks like they don't fit the style of play or what Chivu wanted. And we know they're not guys that, well, apparently Andy Diouf was approved or wanted by Chivu, but we know Luis Enrique was signed way before Chivu was signed, whilst Inzaghi was still here. But he said, we will see them play soon. The matches that we have played up until now have not allowed to make a certain changes, and I must admit that I had to change my vision at a certain point. And actually, the longer quote is that he takes responsibility for this. It is my fault. They deserve to be in the first team, and sooner or later they will play. And on Andy Diouf, here actually, I think Inter Extra didn't translate this properly. A few outlets didn't translate this properly. So he says, Diouf is a mezzala, which we know if you watch my scout report, you know that he's a mezzala, but can play in a 2-man midfield as a mediano. So, as a double pivot. In a 3-man midfield, this is incorrectly translated. He was talking about as a playmaker, or as a play. In Italian, they say play, but what they mean is the regista. So he says, I don't think that is possible in a 3-man midfield. But he says we could try it. I mean, I never thought Ryan Gravenberch for Liverpool could play as a regista. I don't think even Gravenberg himself, though, he could play as a CDM, but he's become one of the best in that position recently since Slot converted him there. So you never know. Similar characteristics, actually, when I think about it, just, off the top of my head, someone that's good at carrying the ball, but he wasn't, he was seen more like as a new Pogba. They used to call him Gravenberch. So you never know. He says, yeah, maybe we can try him there. I've never tried him there. But I saw some people misquote this and saying like, oh, so he can't even play in the 3-man midfield. What's the point of signing him? No, he's definitely in a 3-man midfield. He's a mezzala. And then on Luis Enrique, that was interesting what he said. He can play on the left and right, which we know. And this is what surprised me. I didn't even mind him as a mezzala against Monaco because I didn't actually watch that Monaco game when we were down to 10 men. So that's interesting. Against Padova, I also tried him. We know he tried him in the 3-4-2-1, and we know he can play there. He's overcome a difficult moment he had at the beginning when he had a small injury, but he's doing good things and he'll have the chance to show his worth. Even here, I think it's slightly mistranslated because I think he said he had a braccino. So I think he meant that he's being a bit shy or not really showing his true qualities. And I don't know if he meant in the game or in the training. So again, speaking positively, I am interested to see how he will use both of these guys because at some point he needs to use them. And then going back to Hakan, the question on Hakan, he says he lacks rhythm, just like with Bisek and Frattesi, because they missed the preseason. They've had physical problems since the start of June, since the end of season last year, since the end of the Club World Cup. It's never easy to come back into the team, repairing little by little, training every day. Their time to play comes, and Hakan is important to us, so we know he is returning to his real levels. Now, let's get into the predicted lineups who have just been updated by Sky Sport Italia. And it looks like the Martinez that will play is Josep Martinez. So the reports are saying that 3-4 games, it might be a rotation like that from Chivu, 3 or 4 game rotation. So 3 or 4 games for Zoma, then 3 or 4 games for Josep Martinez. That's what I saw Gazzetta say. I don't know if that's true. I'm not really too sure about this kind of scientific, almost Inzaghi-like, predetermined way of deciding the goalkeeper. I feel like competition-based decision makes more sense than that. But we'll see as things go forward. So Jose Martinez looks like tomorrow will get his chance. We know that with Sky Sport Italia, we do get much more accurate predictions. Actually, let me go back on Twitter because there was one thing I bookmarked in terms of someone said in terms of with Chivu, Matteo Barzaghi, who is Sky Sport Italia reporter, he says on Chivu, it seems like we'll have to wait very late for lineups. We must get used to it. With Inzaghi, Sky Sport Italia, we're very accurate a day, sometimes even 2 days in advance. But it seems like Chivu or the new staff is trying to keep things under wraps a little bit more, which is good, I guess. In terms of keeping the cards close to their chest. But yeah, outside of that, Akanji continues, which I'm starting to get a little bit worried with Akanji, as I said, with his recent injury history. Acerbi returns instead of De Vrij. We know that rotation always happens. So Augusto comes in for Bastoni because Bastoni wasn't rested for the Ajax game, so that makes sense. Di Marco continues because of that. Sucic comes in for Mickey, which is good, definitely. Hakan retains a spot. Barella retains a spot. Dumfries retains a spot. So I am a little bit worried about this right-hand side, to be honest, in terms of minutes, because all 3 of these guys are playing a lot of football, not just for Inter, but for the national teams already at the beginning of the season. So yeah, I think at some point the Luis Enrique integration needs to start happening ASAP. Bisek as well needs to start getting minutes, and of course Barella, Frattesi, Sucic, whoever is going to be, needs to start coming in for Nico. And up front, yeah, it looks like they're not going to risk Lautaro if he's still having back pain issues. And I'm actually quite happy with it. I really like Esposito's debut against Ajax. I mean, we've seen him in the Club World Cup. This guy, his hold-up play doesn't have anything. I mean, of course, Lautaro's more technical and his passing is obviously better, but I didn't feel like I was missing Lautaro against the Ajax. And of course, Esposito adds a aerial threat and a physical threat as well next to Thuram. I am starting to get a little bit worried about Thuram as well, who's been playing non-stop recently. So hopefully Boni can come in if the scoreline allows to get it, to let him get some rest at the end of the game. But yeah, overall, happy with this lineup. If any changes I would make, I maybe would play Augusto as left wing back and put Bastoni. That is it. But apart from that, I'm pretty happy with this lineup, and of course, hopefully start to get more minutes for Frattesi, Juve, Luis Enrique. Those are the guys I think need to start getting integrated more. Let's have a quick look at this Sassuolo team. Oh, scary, isn't it? The ex-Inter player, of course, Pinamonti, the demon, Berardi, Loriente all likes to play well against us. Midfield, Kone, he's a very interesting profile to watch out for. Former Milan guy, if you guys remember, this guy never really got to play much for them. It's quite a muscular, athletic midfield, not very technical midfield. Matic had a bit of a stink. I watched him in the first game of the season against Cremonese. But as usual, he's quite tall and he's a bit older now. It took him a little bit of time to get going. And against Lazio, he was very good with his physicality and his experience in there. This guy is someone to watch out this season. I really like the look of him. Muharemovic, Juve youth product. They seem to just put out talents after talent, that system. Left-footed, one to watch out for. And of course, we remember Jades is our Indo-Dutch king that was linked to Inter at one point. And Josh Doig is can be a painful guy to watch out for on the left-hand side. But yeah, decent team. Should be, in theory, staying in Serie A this season, but they haven't started things very well. But I'm not too fussed about these guys. Grosso is an interesting coach, young Italian coach. But surely this team should, and of course needs to, get the 3 points across the line. I am predicting a Pio Esposito debut goal on his first start in Serie A, and Marcus Thuram to continue his good form. But us conceding maybe a sloppy goal. So I'm continuing with the 2-1 predictions as I have been recently. You guys let me know your predictions in the comments down below. Are we going to get rid of this bogey team reputation for Sassuolo or not? Comment down below. What do you make of Chivu's comments? See you for the post-match reaction. I'm not at home tomorrow for the post-match reaction, so it won't be a live one for sure. Probably a recorded one. So keep a lookout on the channel. Ciao ragazzi. Always.